Hello guys, how are we doing this fine evening? I'm Andrew Harris, and this is the Raw review for April 30th, 2012. Alrighty, we start off Raw by John Laurinaitis, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H in the ring. Well, first it was John Laurinaitis and Brock Lesnar. And then Triple H comes out and basically says, there's no one big person, there's no one greater than the WWE. Your contract is revoked. Your new contract is revoked because I didn't agree to those terms. John Laurinaitis had no reason to even put himself in that position. And he doesn't get all the perks that were lined up for him last week on Monday Night Raw. Now, John Laurinaitis, when all this is going on, is saying, Hunter, you are not being reasonable. You are not being reasonable, Hunter. And Triple H goes on to say, shut the hell up. I don't think he says those exact words, but you get my point. Then, basically, it goes to Brock Lesnar beating the holy shit out of the CEO of this company, Triple H, and breaking his arm. Now, this will be my first rant of 2012, seeing as I haven't done this very long, but this is going to be rant number 1 for tonight. Why in the world would Brock Lesnar break Triple H's arm? Why? I know Brock Lesnar is dominant, he's a beast, he's all these great things. But how dare you have the fucking audacity to break the arm of the CEO of this company, Triple H? You're lucky he even signed you. Are you kidding me? And you're gonna pay him this way by breaking the guy's arm? Brock Lesnar, you broke the guy's arm. Come on. Now some of you guys will say, yeah, this is storyline. Yeah, well, whatever. Shut up! Seriously, you can't go and just break someone's arm. How would you like it if I came up to you, did one of those arm bars, and broke your fucking arm, and then walked off unremorsely? What the fuck? Okay, before I get too mad, let me go through everything else that went on tonight. Eve announces a Beat the Clock challenge tonight for the #1 contendership at Over the Limit in 3 weeks. She said, I believe there were either 4 or 5. Alright, the first Beat the Clock challenge match was Miz versus Santino Marella. Now, we all know this is a rematch from last night of Extreme Rules where Santino picked up the win over The Miz. Now, we were all, well, some of us were saying that The Miz needs to get pushed. The Miz needs to get back in the title picture. The Miz is a great wrestler, and I agree with all of that. The Miz is a great wrestler. Me in my opinion, I think he's a great mid-card wrestler. He hasn't quite made it to main event status, but if he keeps working at it, I believe he can become a main eventer one day in the WWE. But The Miz does pick up the win over Santino Marella in 4 minutes and 28 seconds, setting the standard for the night. Alrighty. The next match was the Divas Championship. The Bellas versus Layla in a triple threat match for the Divas Championship. This will be my second rant of the night. You have the Bellas versus Layla. Now, don't get me wrong, Layla did come back last night at Extreme Rules, and don't get me wrong, the Bellas. With their contract expiring, and actually tonight they were fired from WWE, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. You have Layla kicking one of the Bellas out of the ring, then pinning the other Bella in 1, 2, 3. You have got to be kidding me. This is why... Ooh, excuse me, guys. This is why the WWE can't have good quality matches anymore. You basically have people going in the ring, squashing another person, and winning the match. You can't build a roster off of 4 or 5 squash matches in one fucking broadcast. It is not good for your product, WWE. It's not good for your product. But yes, Layla does pick up the win. Okay, next we had Chris Jericho versus The Big Show in the second Beat the Clock Challenge match. And as some of us know, Chris Jericho and The Big Show were formerly a tag team called Jeri-Show, if I said that correctly. And this match, it was okay. I didn't really feel the vibe in this match. I don't know about you guys, but I don't. Okay. Oh, before I move on, I'm not really sure who won this match. It was a little foggy to me because Big Show didn't make the 10 count. Chris Jericho did make the 10 count, but they didn't really say who the winner was. If you guys can help me out and tell me who won that match, I mean, please let me know. Okay, the next match was Brodus Clay versus JTG. Third round of the night. Enough with Brodus Clay in these squash matches. You had Brodus Clay face Dolph Ziggler in a really good match, in my opinion, at WWE's Extreme Rules last night. And then you book him with JTG, a guy that can't even get a fucking roster spot on Raw or SmackDown. And you have him go up against Brodus Clay, which is a guy that I think can do well into WWE. But this current gimmick he has is just complete and utter bullshit. You've got to be kidding me. Brodus Clay needs to get away from this Funkasaurus gimmick, go back to being the dominant Brodus Clay that some of us know, back when he was in the WWE the first time, when he was Alberto Del Rio's associate. That's when Brodus Clay was at his best. He dominated the WWE when he was with Alberto Del Rio and had matches when he was aligned with Alberto Del Rio. But this Funkasaurus bullcrap, this stuff seriously has to stop. It's just getting out of hand now. Let me know what you guys think down below. Should Brodus Clay stop this gimmick? Like, seriously? Let me know down below. Okay, next we had Randy Orton versus Jack Swagger in the third Beat the Clock Challenge match of the night. Okay. This match, in my opinion, was the best match of the night. Because it had two very accomplished wrestlers, and Jack Swagger, being the collegiate athlete that he was, and Randy Orton, an accomplished WWE superstar today. Now, had this not have been a Beat the Clock Challenge match, and had it go on even longer, then I would say this match was the best match of the night. But I can't say that because it was a Beat the Clock Challenge. Randy Orton and Jack Swagger were being rushed to beat the clock, and it kind of hurt this match, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, it was still a good match, but had it not been a Beat the Clock Challenge match, I believe this could have been a match of the night. Now, Randy Orton does pick up the win and set the new Beat the Clock time. Excuse me, guys. Has a new Beat the Clock Challenge mark at, I believe it was either 4:16 or it was 4:18. But he still made a new time to beat. Alrighty, next we had Epico and Primo versus R-Truth and Kofi Kingston for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Now, in my opinion, I've seen this match coming because you had Truth and Kofi that have single and tag team victories over the former tag team champions in Epico and Primo. I was just waiting when the WWE was actually going to give us this match. And in my opinion, we should have had this match at WrestleMania 28 instead of having it on the the WrestleMania pre-show and having a triple threat tag team match. Now, do I agree with Truth and R-Truth getting the titles? Yes. Well, I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, because I want to see new tag team champions. But no, because, I mean, the guys haven't really been teaming for very long. And the build wasn't the best. But, I mean, that still doesn't mean we can't have a match. But that's just my opinion. If you guys want to voice your opinion, leave your comments down below. Hit up my YouTube inbox or hit up my Facebook inbox, and I'll put those links down below as well. Okay, next we had Kane and Khali in the fourth Beat the Clock Challenge match of the night. Now, we all know that Kane and Khali aren't the fastest guys, and they're not the best guys, but this was brought up on the broadcast that it would be hard to get those guys on the ground to pin them. So I mean, that match, in my opinion, wasn't the best, in my opinion, but it was still a Beat the Clock Challenge match nonetheless. Now, neither of them beat the clock like the Chris Jericho Big Show match, so I assuming it was considered a no contest. Okay. And now we had the final Beat the Clock Challenge match in Daniel Bryan versus a surprise Jerry the King Lawler. Now, in my opinion, this wasn't the best match. Don't get me wrong, it was an okay match, but it wasn't the best match. I could see Daniel Bryan versus a mid-card wrestler in like Jinder Mahal or maybe Dolph Ziggler or someone of that caliber, but Jerry the King Lawler, I know this guy is a WWE Hall of Famer, don't get me wrong, but he's not an active wrestler on the WWE roster. So I don't really approve of that match, but it was a match nonetheless. Daniel Bryan did pick up the win and beat Randy Orton's time of, like I said earlier, either 4:16 or 4:18. And will face CM Punk in a match at Over the Limit in 3 weeks. Now tomorrow, and I do mean tomorrow, I promise you guys, I fucking swear, I'm going to put, in my opinion, who will win the match between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk at Over the Limit, seeing as these two are two of the best technical wrestlers in the WWE today. Alrighty, and lastly we had the John Cena versus John Laurinaitis match. Or excuse me, not a match. Well, I basically just spoiled it right there. Fuck. It was it's gonna be John Laurinaitis versus John Cena at Over the Limit in 3 weeks. Now this is gonna be my last rant of the night. You have got to be kidding me. John Laurinaitis versus John Cena at WWE Over the Limit in 3 weeks. Why is John Laurinaitis getting into a match with one of the top guys in WWE today in John Cena? Why? It's not good for business when you have executive members facing guys that are active WWE superstars that are on the roster at a pay-per-view that isn't very popular anyways. But I'm going to rant about that tomorrow. I'm just going to get clean cut and to the point right now. John Cena versus John Laurinaitis at Over the Limit. I think that's going to be a setup for something that's going to be set up later down the road. And I'll deliberate that more in my topical video tomorrow. But I think this is going to be a setup. Alrighty, guys. For this Raw review on April 30th, 2012, I'm Andrew Harris. I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.